Hello everybody. I'm gonna paint some regular shirts here. This is some of the most popular designs, I guess. This is the gold chain design I'm gonna do, which is real fun. Melody. Here we go. Just start with your text. I guess it would help to see what it looks like. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. Got some debris to take care of. Alright, so I'm gonna outline all these letters in black in a minute. Right now I want to lay them down. Nice thick strokes so I can outline them all in black. And then I'm gonna paint some gold chains hanging down. It's gonna look like a necklace. It'll be pretty cool. What's up, my bro? Hey, dude. I've noticed that when I'm streaming after the fact, anybody that's viewing the live stream after the fact can't see the comments, at least not with timestamps attached to them. So I'm going to do my best to reiterate questions and things before I just answer them so that anybody else can see what's going on. That's something I haven't done well in the past. Streaming everywhere else, like on Instagram, people get to see the comments as they come up, so it makes some sense. But here it does not work the same. Got some paint dried in my airbrush, gunking it up. You'll notice, and I get a lot of comments about the fact that I never clean my airbrushes out at the end of the day. Pros and cons to that. Pro is that I don't have to spend much time cleaning my airbrushes at the end of the day. Con is sometimes I have to clean my airbrushes in the middle of the day. But I do save time. I end up spending less time cleaning airbrushes by just solving problems as they arise rather than cleaning everything. You are the only one here, Death, at the moment. That's a comment. They'll come. Don't worry. It always takes a minute. See, I don't know if you can see that. I'm using the needle to push some dried paint outside of the cone. It's an opaque yellow. All the opaque colors are always dry thicker and gunk up quicker. So if you're using opaque colors, that's something you always got to struggle with. Okay, we should be fine now. Yep. Yeah, so I'm making some nice thick letters to outline in black. And the interesting part of this shirt is going to be the chain itself, the gold chain. The way I paint chains, it's not realistic because it wouldn't work this way in real life, but it looks good and it's fast to do. So I'm just going to mark where the chains are going to go, and then I'm going to paint these loops. I'm going to overlap the loop a little bit, like that. Having some problems still, but I'm going to ignore them. And this design gets 2 chains. Some stars. And the fun part will be here in a second. I'll do the black outlines. Alright. See, it's not realistic because these two, every loop is like running into each other instead of being enclosed by one another. But no one sees that or really recognizes that. It just looks right. You save a lot of time by doing it this way than if you were to actually render a chain. No one's ever going to complain about that. And then you throw some shadows in there and you're really good to go. I'm having some issues. I do need to clean my airbrushes every now and then. I'll clean one at a time. I'll really take it apart and scrub it good. I need to do that with this black. Well, I've been airbrushing for 12 years. Let's do that. We're gonna fix this airbrush because I can't paint like this. So usually when something happens and I gotta clean it, I'll take the bottle off and spray some water through. And then I'll run out of water. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did on that yellow earlier, is just take the cone off and then use the needle and push against the inside of the cone while I'm spinning it a little bit, and just with light pressure. And what that's gonna do is push out any dried paint boogers that are on the inside of this cone. There's a little bit coming out. And then I should be fine from there. And that's really all you gotta do. I like to spray some WD-40 through it. But that's just me. And then if you have dried paint on your needle, that's going to prevent this trigger from coming back and forth smoothly, which is going to cause some problems. So wipe that off and put everything back together and you're good to go. Swap meets. I have airbrushed at lots of fairs and events and things like that. I started out at a theme park. I had no experience at all, but I got a job at a theme park painting shirts, and that's where I learned how to paint. From there, when that season ended, I opened up a shop in a mall and did that for a couple years while the online business grew. Did some events here and there and going to fairs and whatnot. And now I just paint orders online. Just all my own, these are all orders from my Shopify store. I don't have a walk-in shop anymore, it's just online stuff. So I talk to you guys so that I have some company while I'm painting. All right. That's better. Now, before I start on this one, which will be cool, I want to do this hat. It's a nice, fun graffiti design. So we're writing, let me show you what it is. We're gonna do this design, just a graffiti design on this hat. We're writing Mia, M-I-A. Got the wrong color, airbrush, okay. All right. I still got the wrong color, airbrush. Okay. For a graffiti design, to make nice, full, bold graffiti letters quickly, I like to do, I have a different process than most graffiti artists do. Most people start with the lines or start with the fills and then the lines and whatnot. With airbrushing, you don't do it that way. You can paint the outlines and then fill the color in, which is really neat. So that's what I'm gonna do here. First thing I'm gonna do is space out my letters. It's only 3 letters, so it's real easy. But this is a general feel of the letters I'm gonna use. Just a simple idea of where they're gonna go, how big they're gonna be, and all that. You could spend a lot more time here sketching things out and however much time you need to. But I like to start simple. And then I get to go straight into my outlines. How long did it take you to do that 200 shirt order? I've got a lot of different orders. 200 shirt order. I'm not sure which order you're talking about, but usually 2 to 5 minutes a shirt probably. That's hard to calculate. But I appreciate it. Thank you, man. I'm trying to get you guys a good angle on this while I'm painting. So the thing about graffiti letters when you're doing airbrushing work or any kind of work for clients is that style is awesome and it should be stylistic, but primarily needs to be legible. If people can't read what you're writing, which this eye is real weird, you probably can't even tell what it says. If they can't read what you're writing, it doesn't matter how cool it looks, they're not going to be happy with it. So legibility is important, and a good way to make sure your designs are legible is to make sure that the widths of each letter is consistent. Once you have consistently sized blocks on your letters, then your brain kind of knows what's a letter and what's not a letter. I could probably explain that way better, but I didn't, so whatever. I'm going to clean up some of these black lines. They're really making the eye hard to understand. So I'm going to get rid of those now with some white. Layers and layers of paint when it comes to doing white. Do you practice your graffiti on paper? I used to a little bit. Now I just have enough practice painting real orders. This will all go away once I fill it with color. It'll look a lot better. I'm gonna do some scratchy techniques, styles on the outside, because that's what they ordered. Working on hats is way harder than shirts. You get this rounded surface, which is kind of hard to work with. So that's a little difficult. my fill. I do need to practice my graffiti more. My style changes all the time. So like I'll have a day where I'm painting letters a certain way, and then the next week my O's will be completely different or something like that. But it's a lot of fun. Graffiti is my favorite type of font to write in. As an airbrush artist, you do a lot of script and cursive style designs, and that's what kind of pays your bills. But graffiti is one where you get to have your own style as an artist. And that isn't just doing work for somebody anymore. Now you're actually getting to play the artist role, and that is neat. I'm gonna throw some splatter in here. So if you're an airbrush artist, you've already seen this technique probably, but it's one of my favorite things to do. Is the splatter technique. You just spray paint off of a clothespin or anything like this, and paint builds up on this surface, and the air sprays it off onto the surface. And you get like a textured effect. You saw the spray can video I did. I am not a spray can artist. That was my first time using cans. I really enjoyed them. Spray cans are awesome, but I do not have nearly the experience with those as I do with the airbrush. I don't have the control. It takes a lot of practice. Learning how to airbrush is kind of like learning an instrument, you know? You don't just get to pick it up and start painting with it like you would a pencil or something like that. There's a lot of control that you have to develop with all the different factors of an airbrush. And it takes a couple weeks, honestly, of airbrushing before you're comfortable using the airbrush. I've compared it to a guitar that, like, when you pick up a guitar, it's really hard to strum the right strings individually without looking at them, and it's really hard to hold the fret down just right so you're not making that buzzing noise and all that. It takes practice just to physically use an airbrush. But once you get it, you can make some really awesome stuff with it. It's very versatile. Alright, I'm gonna do some white highlights on this, and then we're gonna do that other shirt. Airbrush is leaking. I would say like 30% of airbrushing is problem solving, because you do run into a lot of issues with like clogs and paint leaking and not spraying properly, and you gotta know how much to thin things and whatnot. You gotta be vigilant. See, I'm having a problem now. Bear with me for a moment. Got some dried paint in the cone again. Again, this opaque paint, any kind of opaque paint, whites or yellows or anything like that, it's spraying way thicker. You got to deal with the thick paint. You got to fix issues. You can see a big old paint booger right there that I just pushed out of the front of that airbrush. That was preventing paint from spraying and preventing the needle from sitting flushly with the front of the cone, which caused what's called trailing, which means paint's coming out of the airbrush when you're not wanting it to. Even with the trigger all the way forward, you're still getting a line of paint, and that's not good. So now that's fixed. I've seen too many people give up on airbrushing after a couple days using it or after an afternoon using it because they ran into issues, and you got to be ready to solve those issues. It really helps to have a teacher, have someone who knows what they're doing and know what those issues are to help you guide you through those things. But at the end of the day, you need to learn for yourself how to problem solve. Alright, this is done for now. We're going to move on to a shirt, which is way easier to paint. Alright, what are we doing here? We're doing this heart with the ribbon design. I'm going to start with a light color and kind of sketch some things out a little bit. Make sure it goes on the front of the shirt, yes. He says, that's cool, most of my work is freehand. Yeah, I really enjoy painting freehand more than I do painting with stencils. Some things that make sense to use a stencil, I won't argue with that, and there's nothing wrong with using stencils. You're not less of an artist or anything like that. But I find it's way faster to paint without a stencil, for me, at this point. Me getting a stencil means I have to go there and find it, and then clean it and spray mount it and put it on, and then there's a lot of room for error with the stencil that you just don't have freehanded most of the time. It also limits you to painting whatever size the stencil is, and you can't change anything. And you have to create that stencil in the first place, which is a lot of time invested into that. It just looks better when you have the freedom of painting something freehand rather than being stuck with whatever stencil you used in the first place. This might need to be cleaned. I'm gonna try to get away without cleaning it. Once you have good control of your airbrush, you can get really sharp, really crisp lines without any kind of stencil or straight edge. So, that's the thing. Sorry, my camera is not in a good spot. Yeah, it's a little better. I'm gonna outline all this in pink. Actually, first I have to paint the key. I forgot the key. I'm gonna put it over here. Let's go in with black and do the outlines, and then we'll do the background. I'm gonna have to clean these out today. Yeah, I'm a little afraid to paint the text right now because I need this to be working smoother. It'll be fine. All right, Thomas and Alex. Thomas and Alex. to do a pink outline and everything, and then some white highlights, which will make everything pop out and look great. Notice I'm finding the center of the design and then doing my starburst outward from that very center point that I've decided on. I'm gonna do my white highlights, and then I am going to end the stream for now so I can get to work on some other things that I need to do today and concentrate on a little more. I hope you learned something today, and if you didn't learn something today, then I apologize for wasting your time. But ask me a question, and I'd be happy to answer whatever questions you have. This is supposed to just be a nice casual live stream. I'm going to try to do these often, but I also want to make intentional tutorial videos and things like that. If you want to learn how to airbrush, then I would be happy to teach you how to airbrush. You can do it. Anybody can learn how to do it. Just got to practice and put time into it. But that's all for now, folks. Have a great day. See you guys later. All those good things. And bye and stuff.